Hi, everyone. I am Monique Denaw from MD Consulting. I am doing this video today to give you a few tips about how to handle a networking event. I have a lot of clients in coaching, and many of them are introverts, and they are very nervous about going into some kind of an in-person networking event. So I thought I'd give you a couple of tips today on how to handle that, especially if you are an introvert. Now, let's talk first about the difference between introverts and extroverts. Now, the way you can tell if you are an introvert is how you handle your downtime. So, how do you recharge yourself? If you recharge by being around people and talking and really interacting, then you tend to be more of an extrovert. If you tend to handle your downtime by wanting quiet time or time to yourself, time to reflect, then you most likely will be leaning toward the introvert. Now, many of us have both of those tendencies within us, but many times there is one over the other that seems to be more prevalent. So first determine which one you think you are. Now, the tips I'm going to give you today are the same, whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, but an extrovert might handle a networking event much better than an introvert. So first you want to come up with an elevator speech. And I have done a previous video on how to do that. This is a 1 or 2 sentence spiel, if you will, about you and what you do and who you do it for. So that is something you want to think of ahead of time. Networking events, especially for introverts, tend to be more successful if you plan ahead of time what you want to say, or at least if you have your elevator speech ready. Now, for an extrovert, this is much easier and might come very quickly when they meet someone, but an introvert will need to plan for this. So next, think of the networking event as connecting with people and building relationships. You're not there to sell. You're not there to convince people or influence people. First and foremost, you're there to build relationships. So if you think of it like that, it's simply an interaction. It's a conversation. And that might take some of the nervousness out of it for you. Next, you want to ask questions of the person that you approach. And I mean open-ended questions. Now, I did a video on open-ended questions in the past also. So you can refer back to my YouTube channel for what those are and how to create them. But when you are asking questions and then listening, you are really giving the other person your full attention, and they will want to talk. So it takes some of the pressure off of you, especially an introvert, if the other person is doing more of the talking. Now, it still has to be an interactive conversation. So even though you're listening, you are using active listening skills, and you are maybe asking follow-up questions. The goal is to find common ground, something that is a common interest between you and them, and that will make the conversation flow a lot easier. Now, many of my clients don't know what to do once they start interacting with someone and they get to feeling really comfortable. They want to continue talking to that person for the entire time. But that is not networking. Networking is where you are circulating. So you will need to come up with some type of a default statement so that you can end the conversation and circulate to meet more people. Now, that might be something like, wow, it was great meeting you. Hopefully we can chat again before the end of this event. Or something similar that is just 1 or 2 sentences so that you can excuse yourself politely and move on to talking with the next person. Really, that's all there is to it when you're at a networking event. And the thing that most people forget is that you want to follow up with those people within 24 to 48 hours after you meet them. So you'll want to somehow exchange contact information or ask if you can connect with them on LinkedIn. But either way, within 24 to 48 hours, you want to reach back out to them and thank them for taking the time to meet with you and talk with you. So that could be done by email. The best practice, though, is to connect with them on LinkedIn and send them a brief message afterwards. Hopefully these tips have helped you today. I invite you to go to my website for a lot more tips and resources on how to lead better in the workplace and how to develop some of your leadership skills. I also invite you to listen in to my live talk radio show called Leading with Intention every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. There are many, many more tips there because my guests are subject matter experts in all things leadership. If you miss the live broadcast, it is also available on demand. Have a great day.